Every Wednesday, fish pie. Time to shake things up.
Hello ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. My name is Mike Smith. It is Thursday, it is 9 PM GMT, which means it is time for another episode of the GOGCast, our very own DRM-free podcast. Now, jumping straight into the action, let's just unmute my cohorts today. So, we're joined by some very special guests and also our lovely stream team, and it kind of feels like we're getting the band back together, to be perfectly honest, because this was the kind of original lineup of stream team folk that we had on the first previously unaired podcast, but we'll see how this one goes. So quickly swinging around the virtual table, we have our own wonderful dark princess herself, Outstarwalker. Hello, Outstar.
Hello, welcome. I'm sorry my cat is meowing in the background, so just further apologies for this.
Cat live on stream confirmed. I love it. Also we have our very own Memoriesin8bit. Hello.
Hello. Good evening. Bubbles.
And also we are joined by the elusive stallion that is MegapiemanPHD.
Hello!
Wonderful stuff. And last but not least, we're joined by the producer and UI designer for Kona Day 1, Mr. Alexandre Fiset. I do hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Hello, thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you, hi.
Excellent stuff. So we're going to swing straight into essentially our running order. So we're going to be talking about what's been released recently on GOG, and I think the best place to start would be with Kona. So I basically know that it's a survival game, and that's kind of all I know, and I'm kind of pleased for that. That's all I know, because I kind of want to go in as fresh as possible to this kind of conversation. So Alexandra, would you be able to sell it to me? Tell me what makes it different. Tell me what makes it a different survival game.
Yeah, Kona first and foremost is an adventure game with like a lot of mystery element. So it's a surreal interactive tale with some survival elements. So basically the survival aspects are there to like keep you, they put a little bit of pressure for you to move on, to travel and explore. But the basics of the games are really like your traditional point and click put in a first person view. So we sell it like this. It's a surreal interactive tale that blends the mystery, exploration, and survival, and that tells the story of a private detective who finds himself trapped in a giant snowstorm with some people stuck in a weird, unmeltable blue ice. So the goal is really to explore and try to figure out what's all about. So it's exploration mystery.
Cool, excellent stuff. Do you say you play as a detective?
Yeah, you play. Carl Faubert is basically a war veteran who did the Korean War, and after the war decided to do some detective work. One of his clients is a copper mine magnate. He built mines in the north of Canada in 1970, and he complains about vandalism on his property, so he calls Carl to just investigate on that simple case. But once you arrive in the north, you find out that there's a lot of things going on there, and your client Hamilton is nowhere to be found. So basically, it starts from this point and then evolves into a lot of things.
That's really cool. I must admit, I didn't realise there was quite a colourful backstory to the main character. I'm genuinely really looking forward to it. I believe was it Alstar? Have you played this?
Yes, I played on Tuesday. I spent 3 hours on the stream getting lost in the snow, which was pretty good. I have to say, I was pretty surprised by the game. I play similar games a lot. I love walking simulators. Cat, please be quiet. I love cat simulators. I just said.
You love cat simulators. You love cat simulators too.
Yeah, I love survivals. I love detective games. I love games where you basically walk and try to figure out what's happening around you and immerse in the thing around you. And Kona was at the first sight it was just another game like those games I play, because most of those games are pretty similar to each other with a different story. But then when I get to it and through it, I was actually pretty surprised about many original things that were in there. For example, this whole vision thingy that is actually in the Kona. I was wondering because it was part of what we've seen in the Vanishing of Ethan Carter, part of super psychedelic stuff, and something totally standing out of this typical detective story, reminding me a little bit of Twin Peaks. So, what was your approach with this, Alexandre?
Basically, there are some people trapped in this unmeltable blue ice. It's all linked to what's happening there. I cannot spoil very much, but the thing is, once you touch this kind of ice, you're sent to scenes in the past. So you explore things, you find evidence. It helps you connect the dots. What's missing right now in the beta is the journal, but the journal is here to explain to you what you're seeing, because the character is kind of a detective, so he has more. He has a sense of deduction that is better than most of the people, so we will put more details about what's happening. But the first character you find frozen is actually the manager of the general store, which is the first place you visit in the game, and he conducts his own investigations against your own client, which is Hamilton, because he believes he has something to hide. So you find a lot of papers, you read, there are a lot of background stories and side stories that by reading documents and by filling up your journal, you understand the whole thing, which is kind of a complicated, really deep storyline. But the demo, the beta is kept mainly spoiler free because we want the final game to have some surprises for the players.
Yeah, I think I really want to ask about one thing, because the thing that was lacking in the game currently, that the game was actually advertised for, was the survival. Because I know actually that you can get, in the final game, you will be able to get frozen, because I felt that in the game, that you can, when you are walking through the snow, you're getting more and more cold and you can actually die from that. But will we also have to eat in the final game, drink, and will there be other survival elements, or just the cold and the scary things that might kill us, but I don't know what yet?
It's mostly the cold, the stress. The stress level is something that is not clear right now, but when the character lives some unexpected things, his mood, his breathing, the way he walks, the way he runs changes, the way he holds what he has in his hand changes based on what he lives. He also has, like you said, encounters, and no heating and sleeping, because it's a realistic thing where in 2 hours you can handle yourself. You don't have to eat every 10 minutes. Yeah. So what we did with Kona, this is what we called it Kona Day 1. It's because it takes place in kind of a real-time thing. It's not like you won't in a one playthrough see the sunrise and go away. It's not 12 hours in 2 minutes. It's 4 hours in 4 hours. So it's kind of a different approach to survival games. There's some survival aspects to it, but it's mainly story-driven adventure and mystery game. So yes, it wasn't advertised as a survival adventure because we blend a story with survival, but in no way we want to destroy the story, because we want the character to do things like eating and sleeping.
So it's not like The Long Dark, because both games are visually somewhat similar, with both games having survival elements, dealing with being in Canada, dealing with trying not to be frozen to death.
Yes, exactly. It's really different. We always have to fight against that first visual impression where it snows. So people say it's The Long Dark, but in my opinion, it's really closer to what Vanishing of Ethan Carter is doing, for instance. So someone could say, hey, both games are the same essentially, because they are kind of an open environment where you have to travel and explore and figure out what's happening. This is Vanishing of Ethan Carter and Kona. But when you see the Long Dark, what they're doing, I didn't play their single player thing. They didn't release it yet, but I don't know how they will do it. But it's different because it's a sandbox with days and night cycle. It's a pretty solid experience, but it's really different.
Yeah, they've probably got similar bones underneath it, but quite different outer shells, that sort of thing.
I do want to ask, though, a while ago, I played a version of Kona. I streamed it. I don't remember if it was like for your Kickstarter or something. I don't remember if you guys had a Kickstarter for the game. But how different is the current beta from what was available before? Because what I remember before, I mean, I drove a truck, I went to a gas station, I tipped a snowmobile over to the point that I don't think I could flip it back over again, and I got to a bridge and it ended.
Now you have this whole story thing. You have the visions where you encounter character frozen in the ice. You touch the ice, then you live scenes of the past. You have all the various puzzles where there might be like blackouts where you have to wire up the electricity on a generator. You have a lot of things that's going on that is environmental puzzles. And you have a lot of text and the voiceovers and everything. So basically what you played was a prototype, and what is there is nearly beta. There are some features like the journal that are missing, but they are coming like in a week. So basically what you're playing here is a totally different game in many ways, because we switched the game engine from Unity 4 to Unity 5. So it looks different, it plays different, and there's a lot of additional content to it.
So what MegapieMan may have played was your tech demo, essentially?
Exactly.
Yeah, okay. More like a proof of concept than an actual demo or anything like that.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. We've got a question from chat, actually. Koalaman108 just says, could you ask Kona Game if it's meant to be a very scary game like Silent Hill or not? Is fear something that you went with originally? Did you want to have that sense of isolation, or...?
Yeah, I'm personally a Silent Hill fan.
Yes.
So what we want to do, in fact, with the game, and this is what part of the Kickstarter pitch, is to blend genres together and make sure they are deeply tied to the story. So we introduce many genres as you play, because it starts as really pure adventure game, and then there's this cold and temperature aspect that comes into play, and then later on the encounters and everything. But we want you to feel them like slowly. They are slowly introduced to you. So while not, I don't want to say much about this, but there are some places in the game that feels like a light version of Silent Hill, whereas we're not going to throw a lot of zombies at you, and we're not going to make it a survival horror, but it's still atmospheric horror with some encounters you have to deal with.
That sounds amazing.
Well, here's a very important question. Will it have jump scares? Because I don't like jump scares.
No,
I
the plan
really
is...
don't like jump scares.
And in Silent Hill games, you don't really have jump scares. Jump scares has been added to the horror genre in the last 4 years, maybe.
Yeah.
But we're not going this way. We're going to the way where you might feel stressed, but you will never see like a wolf or something spawn directly in front of your face just to make you scream.
Yeah, I never suffered from jump scares with the Silent Hill games, but whenever I played them, I was incredibly uncomfortable. Just given, you're just in that situation, and you just, I don't know, you're wandering around, and you just think to yourself, I really don't want to be here. I really want to be somewhere else. I'd like to be somewhere with more light or more shelter, that sort of thing. You don't feel quite so exposed.
Now, what I'd be interested is, we talked about the Long Dark and, the obvious comparison. But, the Long Dark has all the survival implemented, but no story, while for Kona, it's exactly the opposite. Now, what I would like to know is, since I saw in the stream, and the game is very, very story-driven and has a really strong narrative, what exactly were the influences in terms of storytelling for this game? I mean, Silent Hill has a great storytelling, but were there other influences? Because I was sometimes kind of reminded a little bit of Alan Wake.
Yeah, Alan Wake and all those kind of modern games, but I'm a huge adventure game fans, like for Resonance and all like Gemini Rue and all those point and clicks where you play different characters in different timeline in the same universe. So Kona is in the same way. The first act you play as Carl, but the second you play as the female Cree woman who lives the story on another perspective. She has her own set of skills and our own set of view of this world. So it's really our main influence are adventure games, but we blend them with more modern things because it's a first-person game. So we looked at atmospheric games like Stalker. We looked at Alan Wake. We looked at Firewatch that just came out, and we're like amazed. And for sure, we take a little bit of influence in all the games we see and play, and that's what all developers do. So yeah, I mean, even the Long Dark developer, Interland, must be, well, I don't know, if I were them, I would play Kona and see how we did things to do better. So I hope they do that, and it's a good thing for players where we take all influence from each other. The only thing we don't want to do is copy, like, because Kona has its own essence, and that is what we want to preserve, and that's what we're aiming at, like, keeping. So that's why we're on games in development. We take a lot of feedback and want to make sure we create something that's really cool for the gamers.
Okay, cool. We've got another couple of questions from chat. Donis Plays, one of our fellow streamers, basically asks, how many puzzles will there be? Now, Donis is a fan of puzzle games, but not a fan of puzzle games that kind of throw puzzles all over the place. So, I don't know, is there a kind of a percentage of gameplay to puzzle ratio, or is it a case of they're just at integral points, or?
We have maybe 4 big puzzles in the game. Like, it's not really a lot of puzzles in there, but certainly you'll find those challenges along the way. It's not meant to be like you enter a house, then it's locked, then you have to like connect some wires to make it work. It's mostly like there's a blackout, now you need to fix electricity. So it's not about like
I remember my stream on Tuesday. I remember my stream on Tuesday where I totally couldn't understand electricity, and the whole chat was facepalming at me because I was.
But that's funny because there's something wrong with the way we did this puzzle, because the icon says to you what when you press A will happen, and that is not intuitive for some people. So we will change that. Yeah. But that like you thought it was on, but it was off. So basically, yeah, these are kind of things we want to fix with the GID thing. It's our first game as a company. I did a lot of games before, but we realized a lot of stuff by doing it. So yeah.
The problem is, Alexandre, you maybe don't even have to do it, because whole chat was screaming at me, "You're doing it wrong." So I kind of think it was just funny.
It's easier to judge by looking at you than playing it. Like you're playing a game and talking to a lot of people, so you might not have this focus that the community. Once someone says, "Hey, you should do that," and everyone is like, "Yeah, you should definitely do that," and then it's a snowball. It just gets bigger and bigger.
Thank you for making me happier. And by the way, I have a very quick question. Did you maybe play Colat's game? We watch a lot of streams, but I didn't buy this game. So basically, I played the stream, and it's a more simple. It's kind of more like Dear Esther in a way, where you walk along a path, and there's no kind of open environment thing. So it's not really in our list of games that similar, even if it's in the snow again. But other than that, it's a walking simulator, atmospheric experience. This is a good game, a big production value, but it's not the kind of game we're looking at right now. So, but I was wondering about
game you're looking at, because it's got that voice actor guy in it that people know and like, and I don't know who his name is.
Sean Bean.
Sean Bean. Oh. It's got Sean Bean in it. You need to look into getting Sean Bean in your game.
No, I was asking about Colette because Colette was basically a game, exploration kind of game, which was not really about investigation and that much about the story because the story remained unexplained, which was a big downside for a lot of people. The thing was, in Colette, you had those encounters with those creepy supernatural creatures, and
Yes.
I wondered if, because I was actually having that feeling for the whole game of Kona that I will meet something weird. Will that anytime happen in Kona, or is that a little bit more spoilery and you don't want to say
No,
that
it's
now?
not a spoiler. I mean, anyone who looks at our Kickstarter page will see something there. Basically, there's an encounter. There's a threat in the game.
So there are enemies, or an enemy.
There
at
are
least.
enemies.
Yeah.
There's a threat, and he has his own personal army. So
wow.
there's this huge wall in the game where you need to find four of the visions to unlock. And while you find those four visions, you find various objects and various things that will help you for the second part of the first act. So the second part of the first act is something that people didn't see yet, and we don't want people to see until we launch. But it's a big chunk and a big surprise and a big something that we're really proud of doing. It's really adding to the multi-genre thing. So yeah.
Cool, excellent stuff. We've got
But you will
another-
encounter things. You will fight. If you're a fighter, you will fight. If you're someone who's thinking, you might be able to clear the game without too much fights. Yeah.
So are you going to be able to fight back? It's not going to be like Amnesia, where if you just look at the enemies, you start going insane, or like
No,
Outlast,
you
where they
can
don't let you
shoot.
actually
You
fight anything.
you find guns. You find bullets. You have axes. You have many weapons. You can fight back. You if you're circled by wolves, then you can shoot at them if you want to. You can kill them.
Okay.
You can ask some questions.
Oh. Dear me,
I had
moving
to.
moving
I
swiftly
had
on.
to.
We have another question from Zombiac in chat, who basically says, "Can you ask about the other standalone game parts? We only know that it's not going to be an episodic game." That was actually a question I had, because it's called Day One. It's not an episodic game, is it?
It's divided in acts, but like
Right.
similar to any series of game, it's not like Broken Age where it's the same mechanics across like the two episodes. It's mostly like I would say a Mass Effect game where yes, the story all are linked together from one act to the other, but there's this sense of completeness in each one of the act, and you play different characters in each of the acts. So it's not Telltale episodic. It's mostly like Kona 1, Kona 2. I don't know how to explain it. Like
Okay.
it's 5 hours, approximately 5 hours of gameplay per act. It's big chunk of self-contained stories.
So you could play Act 2 without having played Act 1.
Exactly,
That
yeah.
sort of
You
thing.
can play
Okay.
Act 2.
So there'll be actual separate games. That
Yeah,
sort of stuff.
there won't be like you walk in a corridor and then it goes black and then it says to be continued. This will not happen. And in
Not
episode
like
2,
Penumbra.
you won't feel totally lost if you play only episode 2, for instance. You will be in another character, another
I
point of
see.
view, and it's really different. Like it's not the same game.
So are you trying to tell one story with multiple characters then?
It's one story for episode 1, which is the story of Carl, but episode 2 is another character, and she has her own background. She's not a detective. She did not come from the same place. She is really different. So yeah, and there are some like things that you will see in episode 2 that are important, like that you may remember from episode 1,
Right.
but if you're a new player, this will not like confuse you. You will not feel totally lost. You will just say, "Oh, that might have happened before, but it could be anything. It's just the story."
So, really quick question. I mean, not to criticize the naming convention, are you going to name it episode Day 1, Day 2, Day 3? That sort of thing?
No, it's not day 1, day 2, day 3. First is
Okay,
called day
okay.
1. It's day 1 because we wanted to make it clear that there were no days and night cycle. It's only
I
one
see.
day.
It's 1 day's worth of
That
events.
was the first thing, but it was jour 1 in French, but we couldn't have localized name on Steam, so we took the
I
English
see.
name. But yeah.
Right. No, that makes sense. I was concerned it would be a case of, you'd have Kona day 1, Kona day 2, Kona day 3, and
No.
then you would almost you would almost be suggesting that they need to be played in a certain order. If that's not the case, then people would just take away what they wanted to take away from, the second game or the third game if they played that, and then sort of go, oh, actually, this is part of a series. I should play the first game, that sort of stuff.
Exactly. The second one will not be called day 2. It
Yeah.
will be a unique kind of name.
Yeah.
I
Okay,
want to. I have one question about the art direction of the game. Actually, two
Yes.
Ooh, yeah.
questions. Because I was what was original for me in the game is that I saw this filter that was put on it that looked a little bit like small noise, and it
Yes.
made it all look like an old movie. And
Exactly.
what was the direction there?
The idea was to mimic like cameras from the 1960s films. So we took a look at a broad range of films and see how they dealt with lighting, how the visual treatment, everything. So we added this noise. We added like also color grading with some bluish shadows, like you will see in Kubrick, the Shining movies,
Yeah.
for instance. So we took a lot from we mostly looked at those films. We looked at also games that has vintage looks and feel, but mostly took a lot of inspiration from old movies.
Cool.
Okay, and another question I had, I saw a lot of items in the game that had textures that looked like taken from photos. And did you take yourself, just like the developers of Vanishing of Even Kata and a lot of other developers nowadays, they just go outside and they're surrounded by this places they want to actually mimic in the game, and they just took photos around and used them in the game. Did you actually do that, or was something else your inspiration?
I'm not the artist on the game, so I can say for everything, but it's definitely not like the Vanishing of Ethan Carter, which all their workflows is based on pictures, and you can see that in the game. When you take a still screenshot, it looks like real things. We do like physically based rendering, and we use materials from like banks and everything. But like I said, I'm not the artist, so.
Okay.
But it's not all pictures. I mean, some of the items you might find may have, I don't know, if you look into a trash, for instance, all the like trash textures might be taken from photos. But it's not like in Vanishing of Eden Carter where they do everything with photos.
Okay. It's
Cool.
pretty cool.
Excellent stuff. I'm interested. I'm interested in regards to the atmosphere that you're trying to convey across, and this almost pseudo Silent Hill uneasiness in certain areas. So yeah, it's one of those games that if it's a straight survival game, normally what I would do personally, I'd play it for a little bit. I'd probably die horribly a number of times, and then I'd probably shelve it for a number of weeks and then not really go back to it. But if there's a certain atmosphere, it's going to have that spark. It's got to have that certain something that makes me want to find out exactly what's happening. I mean, especially there are so many games out now where you're just dropped into the shoes of a nameless, faceless protagonist, and you kind of have to piece everything together. I mean, if your protagonist actually has a backstory before the game even starts, you're way ahead of the game on that one. I like that.
Yeah, thank you. The thing, this is exactly what we want to do. In fact, you will not feel like the second part of the game is really different. So as you progress, the game changes. So you will never be like, oh, this is repeating stuff. It's always moving forward.
Excellent, cool. So yeah, Kona day 1 on GOG.com. Go check it out. Cool. Well, thank you very much for answering all the barrage of questions. If anybody in chat has any more questions in regards to Kona Day 1, just tag myself or anybody in chat, any of the stream team that are currently in chat, and we'll pick it up.
I have one question.
Yeah,
again.
shoot, go ahead.
I have a question because in the game I actually saw that in the journal it says that there will be an update to the journal on February 15th.
Yes.
And I was wondering about the next updates of Kona, when they will be, what can we wait for, and is there anything announced already?
Yeah, we're submitting an update today that will fix. There's a huge lighting issue with Unity where every dark places are too bright. So this will fix like visually a lot of things that we didn't like with the visual treatment. So the game will look better in the next update. That should come like tomorrow. And we always fix bugs in each iteration. And the journal is the big next step where it will be clearer what you have to do in the game. I mean, right now you're just wandering around, you're exploring, but you have basically no clues of what's going on and what you have to do. But there are things, like I mean, when you go to the general store and finds out that your client is missing, then you find out a note that says he has an appointment with his doctor, and then you have the address of the doctor. So you should go to the doctor's house looking for him, then you find some medical files, and then all those kind of things suggest the next location you should visit. So it drives you a little bit, but it's still non-linear because you have many places at the same time you can visit, but each of them has their purpose, has their own like backstory. But since there's no journal, you have to figure that out by yourself right now. So the big update will certainly make it clearer to the player whereas he has what he has to do because it will be written, and then it will be like a task list. Let's call it like that.
Yeah.
Okay, I actually have a question that goes a little bit along with that. So Kona isn't really a very linear game, but however, it is still very story-driven. Was that actually a challenge to make this work? Because when I write linear, and if giving the player a lot of opportunities, I realize it probably takes a lot of time and effort to cover all the different kind of approaches the player has to take. Was that really difficult to get the story still working with that?
It was. In fact, that was the biggest challenge, but we finally had this idea with the ghosts and the vision and the wall that blocks you the access to the forest. Because at first we thought to go to the forest you will need a new vehicle that can go in the woods, which is the snowmobile, which is already on Kickstarter and everything. So this is still in the game. And you need a proper coat because you have to travel through 2 miles of frozen forest. So, but it was not clear enough. So we took a lot from Zelda games where to progress later in the game, you have to collect 3 pendants, for instance. It's really clear. You have to collect 3 things, which 1 green, 1 red, and 1 blue. And then once you have those, then you can progress. And it's clear, it's crystal clear. So we went ahead and fused our visions finding thing to unlock the second part of the game. It's kind of gamey, but it's still it encourages you to explore the world and find those 4 visions. And while you explore, we put things in front of you to make you understand what's going on. So it's kind of non-linear storytelling. We use those visions to tell you the story as you explore and find them.
That's pretty
cool. You gotta be careful when you start adding you need 3 things to unlock a thing, because if you're not careful, then you'll get Darksiders 2, where you need 3 things to get 1 of 3 things, to get 1 of 3 things, to get 3 of 3 things.
There's only one spot with 4 things you have to find, so it's kind of really straightforward.
Darksiders 2 is a fun game, but it has an obsession with the number 3. It's ridiculous.
It's a video game rule.
You don't. I know, but you don't want that to happen. You don't want that again.
I know. But sometimes you have no choice, because people like realistic things. But when you do create 100% realistic experience, they come back and say, hey, it's not fun and it's not clear and it's not. So you have to find ways to make it clear.
If it's too realistic, you get a basic armor, which I don't
Yes.
think anybody
Yeah,
finds
yeah.
basic armor fun.
No,
A
that's very
basic
true.
armor without the guns. So,
Yeah, he's just walking
Oh my
around.
God.
Yeah.
so
Days.
it's
You
like
still lose because you can break your legs in armor by
That's
walking.
true. That is true. No, it's very true. Excellent stuff. Right. So, yeah, Kona. I'm interested. I've written it down and everything. I'm going to check it out after the stream. I have a habit of doing that. I've got post-its all over the office, all over the studio of just games that people say, "Oh yeah, you should totally check this out." It's normally the games where we've got the developers on and they kind of do the sales pitch, and I'm stupid and I believe everything everybody ever says because I'm British and we're like that, apart from being incredibly cynical. But yeah, I normally end up writing down all the games that people sort of talk about, including Slime Rancher, which I know full well MegapiemanPHD is going to mention. He's going to mention at least a couple of times.
I do have to say, I will make the request, since Kona takes place in Canada, I will make the request to change the name to Fleo Simulator.
So it's just basically Fleos's day off.
Well, that's
it.
every day of Fleos's life, I would imagine, is somewhat like Kona.
Oh man.
Oh, that's a cool question we have. What does Kona mean?
It means snow in the Cree language. The Cree are First Nations people in Canada. So they are based in northern Quebec and Canada in general. And this is where there's a huge story with them being accused of vandalizing the properties of the clients of Carl in the game. He accused them of vandalizing his property because they don't like him because he creates mines in the north, and then it disturbs like the balance of nature and everything. So there's a huge thing behind that. So yeah, it's all about like the First Nations. The second character is a First Nation woman. Yeah. So we call it Kona. It means snow. It's a unique name. So yeah. It also means bad words in some language. We know about that, but yeah.
could be a lot worse. It could be a lot worse. So do you find, just really quickly, just for myself, do you find that you play a lot of games that are similar to your own game as a games developer? Like you mentioned, you'd play stuff like Firewatch, and you'd watch streams of games that are similar as well. Do you find that's how you would either compare what you're trying to create and maybe not take ideas, but take inspirations for certain mechanics?
I always feel there's a lot of difference. I mean, you take one idea, you give it to two people, they will execute it in really different ways.
Yeah.
So yes, we have similarities to other games, but rarely I will see a game where you can drive, where you can walk, where you can shoot, where you can like explore and discover a deep storyline. So basically, I think we have something there where we blend a lot of genres and we to tell a story in the northern Canada of 1970. I think there's a lot of things unique to our games, to our game. But yes, when you play a first-person game, it's a first-person game. So there are things that you will notice that are similar or even like the same, like the controls, for instance. So yeah, I do feel when I watch some things, I say, oh, they did that like us, but it comes from so many games so that it makes it like a unique package.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Does anybody else in chat have any further questions that we can answer straight away? And also, do any of our additional guests have any additional questions?
I have a question I always love to ask. What was the strangest / funniest bugs you ever had in development so
I love
far?
these. I love these questions. I'm going to get comfy.
We had a lot of bugs, so it's tough to say. I would say at some point we had all the trees exploding, and the funniest bugs are with physics when you go into the pickup trucks and you hit a collision, and then you're thrown like in space basically, and then you really feel like you're living an accident, like a real life car accident, and it's so realistic that you feel like lost in front of your screen, and it's really this confusing stuff. It turns around. I think these are my favorite bugs. While they are not really disturbing, But on games I worked on before, I saw things that were funnier. Like I worked on Spider-Man games where Spider-Man became like a man with tentacles and everything. So those kind of things are funny. But ours, since it's first-person view, there's nothing going on with the character that might be funny other than accidents.
That does bring up the question: do you guys have any VR plans?
Yes, essentially the Kickstarter demonstration was working on the Oculus DK2, and now we're in contact with Oculus to have their new kit. So the game is planned and scheduled to go on out on VR a month or two after the official flat screen launch. So yeah,
will the GOG version be compatible with VR?
Yeah, so we will update it across the board. So if you pay, you only pay once for the game. So
yes. Yeah, you heard it here first, people. You heard it here first.
Exclusive.
I'm gonna get like an animation that just says exclusive, because I've realized some things that people say on the GOGCast might be exclusive, but I may not realize it, so I don't call to action. I don't sort of telegraph it. I'm gonna get like an animation to play over the top.
There's more than two who ask how big is my team. It's 6 people. Yeah.
Excellent stuff. Yeah, cool. Thank you. Also, Qualman108 says, I have a question for Kona Game. How do you and your brother divide the workload? So what's your brother's position?
Me, I'm doing like a user interface, which I program and design. So I do like the art part of the user interface and the programming aspects of the user interface. We have 2 programmers, Mike. Associate who's Max, who did the car vehicle. He's actually a mechanical engineer. That's like why we have vehicles in the game, because at first we played a lot with physics of vehicles, and he likes to do that, and he's the main programmer. So for the first year we were only 3 people, like me with the UI, Max with the programming of everything, and Etienne with the art of everything. And then there's an additional programmer called Dominic who does help me on the UI. He does a lot of programming across the board. He helps a lot Max on various things. And there's Jeff, who's community manager. So that's why we answer to everyone. That's really important to us, is he does the bridge between the developer and the players. So he's here with us, and he tests the game. He takes the feedback from the people. He communicates it to us, and we go on in the forums and talk a lot with the players. So to make sure the game, we do like have a vision for the game, but we do have some parts that can be adapted if some people think it's not working, or that was a bad idea, it does not sound good, I don't like that the narrator speaks too much, and all those kind of things we're fixing and tweaking and balancing. So Jeff communicates us all those things.
Cool, excellent stuff. Does anybody else have any questions in the podcast at the moment?
There's what is the average age of the team members?
Oh, there we go.
I will
check you out, Eagle Eyes.
I will say 29 is the average, because there are people in their 30s, and I'm 26.
I thought you were going to say everyone's 29.
No, that will be good. At Parable, we only take people of the same age as the founder.
Oh, right, okay.
No.
Yeah, no, that's in your contract.
Everybody's 29, so next year they'll have to make a new company.
Exactly, because after 29, we do not exist anymore.
Yeah. Okay, cool. I can't see any further questions in chat at the moment. Do any of the stream team in the podcast have any questions at the minute?
I had a question, but it escaped me again.
Oh,
yes. Okay, I got it. So you mentioned that you worked on games before. Now now you do a game like in basically an open development with immediate user feedback, and you mentioned a lot like that you really orient yourself towards this user feedback. Now, would you really say this is the best way to develop a game, or is there also downsides? Would you say it's the perfect scenario for every game? What's your general opinion on this closed development versus open development?
I prefer open development, but like it depends on the game. Like, I mean, I worked on franchise like Spider-Man, where I think they will have really succeeded more with sales if they spoke with Spider-Man fans to develop the game. I mean, at some point, the web that goes out of Spider-Man didn't touch any building, and people on the forums, as soon as the game was announced, said, "What the hell is going on?" I mean, it's Spider-Man. We are in 2014, and it should touch, and then it was too late. So why didn't they talk about their intentions of developing the game before, listen to their feedback, and then react to it? I think it does make total sense. So the way we're going with this company, with our team, is that we will always develop games for fans of our development team. So people at some point, the one who follow us will follow the team and not really the games. So we will talk with them, and we always give something in return. For instance, if someone sends us a bug report or helps us with something, we give them additional keys. We always deal with things the way we will with friends. So if you do help us, we will help you somehow. We will send you a key for your friends. We will reduce the price of the game because right now it's cheaper than what it will be once it will be out officially. So people who play the game in development saves right now $4. So that's not negligible.
Nice.
Right? Yeah.
That's cool.
Nice, very nice.
What that previous game you worked on happened to have been The Amazing Spider-Man 2.
No, it was I worked on Shattered Dimensions, and I worked on The Amazing Spider-Man the first. I was in charge of the city and the boss fights in the Amazing Spider-Man. I was producer. I didn't.
Clearly, some of the best bits. Definitely some of the best bits.
Good.
Of that
It's
game.
good to know you didn't have anything to do with Amazing Spider-Man 2 because that game sucked. I heard the first one was pretty good though. People weren't a big fan of the swinging on clouds idea because
the amazing Spider-Man satellite.
It's funny because you will talk to anyone involved in the game, and they will all say the same to you. It's like, we know because we didn't agree with, but like it's so big project with so many layers. Like you have Marvel, you have Sony, you have everyone. So it creates a bland game with no soul.
Yeah, exactly.
I can't imagine trying to work on like a Spider-Man game nowadays because Spider-Man 2 on the PlayStation 2 is so loved. For some reason, everything was like perfect with that one. That anything since is always compared to it, and if it's not the same, everybody hates it.
Yes, and that's funny because you will play that game. That game, if it didn't exist, you will release it today, and people will not like it. But anyway, that's not the only thing. It's the fact that you had a lot of collectibles. You have a lot of suits you could put on Spider-Man, and this we cannot do that anymore. We wanted to have zombie Spider-Man, but Marvel were like, no, you're not using zombies. So you're blocked, always constantly blocked creatively. Because when you play Batman, for instance, it's a different story because the license owner is also the one who creates the game, so they can use anything they want in the Batman universe, and they will never hit a wall. So anyway,
So does that mean in Kona you'll have a knockoff Spider-Man costume?
No, but there might be a zombies mode.
We will have Stanley, no, cameos or no.
Look, it's not zombie Spider-Man. It just looks like him, but it's not.
Just a dead zombie. Yeah, just a dead zombie by the side of the road as Spider-Man.
It's Kona Man.
Megapieman lawyers will decide if it looks not enough like Spider-Man later.
There'll be a very unfortunate phone call, I'm sure.
Hey, if Batman and Spider-Man can get away with it,
there's a question.
Oh, there's tons.
Early access Google Game or Steam. Right now we're quite exclusive on Google Game. The reason why is the 40 days money back because it creates a positive space where we can interact with people who really like the game, and those who don't, we just say ask for a refund, please. We want to keep that positive thing for now, but it's something we're looking forward to. I mean, we have to put food on our platers. We have to make money at some point, and we have to expand. But right now, we focus on delivering everything on Google Game.
Cool.
That's
Cool,
great.
excellent stuff.
That's
I've
great.
got there are a couple of other questions actually, so I'm just going to nip through them quite quickly. I'm very aware that you're probably only available for the next 5 or 10 minutes, but
No, it's okay.
we
It's
will.
okay. I'll answer to the questions.
Ah, cool. So ECAG, one of our diligent regulars, says, "Did user feedback ever lead you wrong?"
Yes, it did.
Are you able to give us an example of that?
Usually, feedback that goes wrong is when people convince us that part of the direction was not good. I would say the best example right now is why we keep. There is no long tutorial in the game, and this will stay like this. We have a lot of people who complains like it's not clear. I don't know where to go. But you're lost in the snow. You're playing that guy. So basically, if we follow that advice and we decided to move forward and put a lot of tutorial tooltips and everything, it will backlash. We will receive bad comments from everyone else who didn't talk because they liked it. When people are silent, it's usually because they like what they play. If if they complain, it's because it's not good. But sometimes you only have 1 or 2 person complaining, and we did change. I don't have like anything that pops into my mind as an example, but we did change things in the past. I think the buttons layout. People said like it should be X to interact and A to jump. Then we did that, and people were, it should be A to interact because A it's like interact, but it's.
I was just checking your controller.
Customizable controls. That's how you fix
Yes.
that.
We
Customizable controls.
Now you can interact with A and X.
Now you can make any button do anything.
Shake the controller.
Yeah,
Motion controls.
motion controls confirmed. There we go, another GOGCast
Yourself a
exclusive.
steering wheel to play with.
Hey, someone will do it. I'm telling you, there are some crazy people out there.
You know, Megapieman, you say that, but you haven't seen the guy playing Dark Souls with a flippin'
The
Guitar
guitar,
Hero
yeah.
Controller.
I've
It's
heard of
happened.
that.
That's
It's
amazing.
It's
Absolutely
a sad,
amazing.
sad world we live in.
I hear Outstar's doing that soon, actually.
Yeah.
There's one thing I want to make clear is that we will not support PlayStation Move.
Yeah.
No, no.
Damn it.
Can I just say thank you?
I'm sorry.
From
We
the
have to.
majority of the PlayStation community, thank you. Thank you for looking at it and just going, why would we use this? Unless it's some sort of contractual thing where Sony turn around and go. I mean, I don't know if anybody's played. Is it? Oh, I've forgotten what game it is now. It's one of the flagship PlayStation games, and you use PlayStation Move, and it was a big thing where they said, "Oh, it incorporates PlayStation Move," and you use it literally for 30 seconds at the very start of the game, and you do not use it again all the way through the game. Like they just sort of went, "Right, well, that's that out of the way. Let's get on with the game." But I just
The reason why you use the PlayStation Move is because the gun stringer is really cool.
the gun stringer.
Have you never heard of the gun stringer by
Nope.
Twisted Pixel?
Nope, I have not.
It is. Look it up. It
All right,
is-
all right, I'll write it down.
It's beautiful. They make everything look like marionettes, and it's insane, and it's just great.
I'll have to look at it.
There we go, gunstringer. Sorted, written down. Okay, so we've got some more questions. Tikanjia asks, did you get any support from Quebec or Canadian government in starting your game/company?
It's a bit complicated. I mean, it's partially government. I mean, it's the Canadian Media Fund. The Canadian Media Fund is a fund like from cable distributors from everyone like cable TV owners. They have a fund that is called the Experimental Fund, where they put money in new things like in innovation. And
Nice.
it's pretty much all the big indies in Canada are funded by this fund, which is, I think it's 60% private and 40% public money. And when you're selected, they pay for 75% of the expense of your project. So with the Kickstarter, we had $44,000 from the backers, and then we put that up front, and we had $115,000 total from the Canadian Media Fund. So it gave us $160,000 to do the first pitch of the game, and then we made money with some contracts, and then in the end, we got $300,000 total to make the game. So it's kind of 1/3 of the usual like basic budget you will for 3D big games like ours. But for us, it's enough. I mean, we have enough money to pay for 6 employees full time, and that makes the game you're seeing. So it's good. There's still some money left, so we're good to go for the next couple of months. So it's all
Cool.
It's all
Excellent stuff.
I hate to continue the conversation before this, but I've come to the realization that the gun stringer was for the Kinect and not the PlayStation Move. So
I'm out.
Ruined.
So
it's still useless.
I'm out.
Oh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
But
sorry.
there's this idea we could do with the PlayStation Move where you're outside, the ball is white, and if you're inside, it's red. That would be nice.
Brilliant.
Oh yeah, I quite like that. If it's a PlayStation game, I like the light changes color on the front of the controller depending on like your health or your situation, that sort of thing. I genuinely think that's quite nice, to be perfectly honest.
But
with
when
you.
you play in the dark with the PlayStation Move, it hurts my eyes.
Yeah, bounces off the
Is that,
TV.
like non-video game you can play with the Move? Joust?
I played a game where you all are 7 people in the room, and you have to be careful not to move the controller too much, because if you do, you die. So you play by pushing others. Like it's funny, but it's not a game with a screen. It's only the controllers, and they blink once you died. But
It's
you could have done that
there
with
was
a lot of
something
people.
similar called
came
Sports
with,
Friends, wasn't there?
Yes, it came in the Sports Friends pack.
Yeah, I remember that. I've got that actually, weirdly enough.
I remember this from Head Start in Belgium, where we met with the indie game developers and we wanted to make games, but we mostly just gathered in a huge hall and we played this game together and everyone pushed each other. It was amazing. And we also had the arcade machines with games like Cannibal and different, and we just played them. But yeah, that was a creative time.
You also built a unicorn controller, as I remember. Speaking of which.
We also had the workshops with making your own controllers, and we made a
Unicontroller.
Unicontroller.
Unicorn-troller? There you go.
We didn't know this name before, but basically it was a mask of a unicorn that had one button on the forehead, and it was for playing Cannibal. So in Cannibal, it's an endless runner where you only have to jump, nothing else. So one person was trying to gallop away as a unicorn, and the other person tried to push that person in the forehead, trying to play a game. So yeah, I think now, guys, everyone should file the feedback support to Alexandre, and we have to. Everyone want to have a next episode of Kona on PlayStation Move only, exclusive.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's all planned because we believe
Make it
in the
the
future.
GOG move.
The GOG move, yeah.
So to everyone in the
Move.
in the
You
stream,
gotta move.
if you have any concern or question or anything about the game, feel free to head to the forum or write to us. We're kind of really reactive to your feedback, so feel free to talk to us. We're human beings. And
Nice. Always
thank
nice
you
to know.
all for this podcast. Really fun. So
No, it's been absolutely fantastic. Do you need to shoot off now?
yes, I need to go.
Yeah, that's absolutely fine. Thank you very much for joining us. Big thank you from everybody in chat and also on the stream. Yeah, and best of luck.
Yeah, thank you. Bye bye.
Cool.
Bye,
Thanks so
everyone.
much.
Game.
Bye.
Catch you later, dude.
Bye-bye.
Okay, so this is going to completely screw up some of my settings, so you'll need to bear with me just a second. So,
Yeah. That's fine.
Are we done here?
In the
Well,
meantime,
we're not done. I'm going to leave you guys to talk about other games that have been released. So,
we're
Outstar,
not
would you like to take the reins for a second?
Why does he get to leave? What is he getting out?
Why is he getting out? As if this isn't out. This isn't an out.
But you know, the
Jesus.
thing is, right now we're laughing about motion control, but I remember when the Atari 5200 came out, you know, it was one of the first video game consoles with like an analog joystick, which was very revolutionary at the time, but it was like breaking, it was inaccurate, and people were like, nah, it's never gonna work out.
Yeah.
I think like in 20 years, everybody will use motion control and not remember anymore why we used, you know, these kind of stupid mouse and game controllers and stuff. And we'll just sit there and be like, why the fuck would I care about the keyboards? You know.
Well,
Eventually,
using Power Gloves. The Power Glove will come back into fashion.
Oh yeah, that's my hope.
It's
I must admit.
100% works.
So, just for the benefit of the video viewers at the minute, I'm currently changing.
Oh my god,
some of
I'm
our
doubled.
layout.
I'm
You
doubled.
are doubled. You are doubled over, just the way I like you.
16 memories in 16-bit.
Memories in 16-bit. Yeah, that's pretty good actually. I quite like that one. Yeah, I'm just editing some of the layout. Obviously, when somebody drops
I'm
out of
watching it
Skype,
live with 20 seconds delay.
Yep.
That's great.
Obviously, when someone drops out of a Skype phone call,
It's so nice of 8-bit to make out stuff feel young by bringing up a controller she's never heard of.
Actually, my first controllers I ever had in my hand were joysticks.
ColecoVision?
No, I don't really know how they're called. They're joysticks for Commodore 64, and they were like those. I tried to do that, you know. Okay, without hands.
They were joysticks. they were joysticks. There you go.
They were the black joysticks with the red top.
Yep.
And
carry on.
And basically, you could just wiggle it around. And it was they were like the upper part was like pretty big. Oh my god, I'm sorry.
Okay, and so we've been banned.
Basically, what I was trying to tell was that my mother was teaching me how to play.
Just go ahead and say it. just say it out loud.
It's getting better and better.
Stop. The longer you pause and laugh, the longer it's going to take. Just go ahead and say it.
I'm crying right now. Oh my god. I was trying to say that my mother was playing Gianna Sisters a lot, and she was moving with her whole body. Like she was not really just using the joystick only. She was just lying on the floor to turn left, lying on the floor.
I'm sure she was.
And I was just
that's where babies come from.
I was just like 2 or 3 years old, so I was doing the same things, you know. But the whole story about the joystick, it sounded totally wrong. So I'm sorry about it.
That's why you just gotta say it. You say it and then worry about how it sounded later, because otherwise you'll never get it out.
I know. So it was just about making movement, but yeah, we should probably move to releases.
Yeah, we've been talking about Kona for like a whole hour. I'm quite impressed.
People still here? Are people still interested?
Nah, it's just us. No one wants to hear us.
That was not a dig against Kona. I got nothing against Kona.
It looks really nice.
Taking things out of context.
I've got to admit, it looks really nice. I think the games that have come out recently, stuff like Kona and the Long Dark, I don't know. If it gets the atmosphere right, I think they could be really, really, really good. I just fear that, you know, the atmosphere may either not be right or it may wear off a bit after a while. I'm not quite sure, but I'm hoping, you know, I'm looking for that psychologically uncomfortable feeling when I play a video game. I'm a bit of a masochist, I think. I want to feel uncomfortable when I play a video game like that. I want to feel like I'm isolated and there's something oppressive about the actual environment. So I don't know. Hopefully that'll come through in Kona. Like I said, I've written it down. I'm going to check it out after the stream, and I'll let people know. So yeah. So what else have we got this week? We've got Craft the World. I've got my list down in front of me, actually, so it looks really unprofessional.
Did we talk about this at some point?
I think we may have, but I can't remember, and I don't have the video footage to go back on.
It's like that Terraria-ish game.
Like Starbound?
That's like that.
Oh, I made that joke last week!
Yeah. And people are going to be, it's not Terraria, you can't just call everything that because it looks like it.
Yeah.
Like, that's the best. How am I going to tell this game to you? It's like Terraria. Now you instantly understand what it's like.
Yeah.
I can just talk about this game because I streamed it on Monday, and the thing was, everyone was like, before the stream, everyone was telling me from the chat, you know, people who played the game before, well, it's an Android port, and it was a mobile game before, so it's not really fun, and you're better off just play Terraria or Starbound or anything, because this game is bad. So I was not expecting anything, and I got a pretty decent builder game where you just could do anything I wanted to. I built the walls, I built equipment, I built furniture, I made my little dwarfs do stuff, and there were waves of enemies incoming, so there was this purpose, you wanted to kill those zombies incoming, and the whole game was pretty cool. It didn't really look like a mobile port. The thing was, the only thing annoying about the game so far for me was the AI of the dwarves, that you have, this bigger and bigger pack of dwarves that you control, and you're the overlord that can just distribute them between, like, you go to the mining, you go and fight with those people. And they were sometimes not very reactive to what I was telling them to do. So I told someone to kill a zombie, but that person was just somewhere, stuck on the ladder, for example. There were some small bugs that were annoying. I really hope it will be... Cat, please don't do that.
Is that your cat?
Yeah, my cat. I have to just do something with her.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
absolutely fine. I'm genuinely interested in stuff like Craft the World. I think I had such a long-standing addiction to Terraria, and addiction's a strong word, but I literally played it every single day for a number of hours for, you probably talking 2 or 3 months. I mean, I've completed it numerous times, done it several different ways, and it's just... And I just couldn't stop playing it. So I think
You didn't complete Terraria?
Yes, oh yes, absolutely. You can complete Terraria.
Well, for me, I can understand your addiction, because my husband had the same one, and it was a little bit annoying because he used to play when I was not streaming. He unplugged his headphones and he was playing on the speakers, and for 2 weeks he was building a subway. And he was doing that by just putting, the rail for the whole map, because he wanted to have the super huge subway below the map. And what I heard for the 2 weeks straight was pew 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 pew. Yeah, it was it was pretty annoying. But then he built it and he stopped the game because he was not really using the subway, but he just wanted to build it.
Yeah, exactly. No, absolutely. I remember spending ages on Terraria, which is also available on GOG, by the way. Just building this huge castle. I mean, me and I think 3 or 4 people from my community just built this huge castle, and we built this really intricate locking system and this portcullis and all this sort of really cool stuff. We then kind of stopped and then sort of never played it again, because we were like, well, we've built that now. What else are we going to do? We can complete the game, but that's going to take a couple of hours. That's about it. But we've kind of filled the map with castle, so let's just call it a day. Okay, cool.
That's pretty cool.
So what else have we got? I've unfortunately my list has disappeared, so bear with me just 1 second. We've got there's one game on this list that I'm really interested in, and it's Pony Island.
Oh my god! I just bought it today.
Did
I
you?
bought it today. I saw the last 15. I spoke about that in my stream today. At least I think. I'm sorry. The memory of my last stream is like very hazy since I played a shoot 'em up. Anyway, it was like I came in that and Tom's dry humor, and he was sitting there. And it was like this pony fighting against a giant Satan, and later it was like changing. It was like hacking this arcade machine which you were like playing, and I was like, that is like the definition of what of the GOG channel. It's weird, it's fun, and it's dark. And I want to have it, and that's why I bought this. It's just $5.99, and it's currently just a few, 10% off. So you get 60-cent discount on it. And I'm just gonna buy this because it looks flippin' amazing, and it's retro graphics. So what can you do? I think it even has like some serious horror elements in it, and it has a very unique atmosphere. And I think I'm gonna have a lot of fun with this game.
Well, ponies are terrifying, so I can understand why it's got unique horror aspects to it.
It was pretty funny for me because I got the list of games that will release on GOG a while earlier, and Pony Island was on the list, and back then it was not really hyped in the internet, so we didn't really have a lot of screenshots. And when I wrote Pony Island in the Google Graphics, I just saw pictures of My Little Pony. So I was like pretty sure that GOG is for some reason
That's what I thought.
I thought it's some kind of a children's game.
Yeah.
That's what you're supposed to think.
Yeah.
That's the whole point.
Yeah.
Yeah, and suddenly it's a game about Satan that traps you inside the arcade machine, which is so freaking cool. So I played it totally.
Brilliant. It kind of reminded me, there was a time a while ago when there was a game floating around the internet called the Magic Pony and His Crystal Adventures or something like that, and everybody, there was this
The
period
Magic
of time.
Crystal?
Not the magic crystal. No, it's you play as a pony. You play as a horse essentially, and you go off on a magical level. Imagine Spyro the Dragon, but with a horse, and you're after magical crystals. Okay, it's a really
Secret
basic
of the magic crystals.
something like that. Yeah. Basically, there was this period of time where everybody was playing it, and it was playing it basically because on Reddit, one person would give it to another person, and that person would gift it to somebody else, and that person would gift it, and it was just this horrible, almost like a chain letter domino effect. So eventually, everybody,
like the Ring video.
yeah, exactly, yeah. I'm not.
Are those people
I'm not,
still alive?
I don't know.
We
I've
don't
not
know.
checked. All trampled to death by mysterious sources. But yeah, it was just this random, almost children's game that was just floating around the internet. And I have to admit, I was concerned that this would be something similar, and it would just be one of those games that, fair enough, would be reasonably medium to large budget and would be quite popular and successful, but it would be one of those games that if you weren't involved in the games industry or in the internet sort of genre, if you will, so that's kind of subculture, that's the word I'm looking for, then you wouldn't really understand the relevance of it. And if you saw it, but actually looking at it now, I looked at it today, and I was on my lunch hour at work, and I was watching the trailer for it, and I was just like, what on earth am I watching? It's
a metagame. It's one of those. There's been this new genre that's been developing recently. That's I don't know if there's a name for it yet, but it's games about games. You've got, the Stanley Parable is in there, the Beginner's Guide's in there, Pony Island's in there, the Magic Circle's in there. They're games about making games, how games work, and that kind of a thing. And Pony Island sort of works with that by it changes your expectations, and it's much deeper than it actually looks like what it is. It's also a game that if you want to play it, you need to not look into it at all, similar to something like Undertale or anything, because it will be spoiled for you, and that will completely ruin it.
Yeah.
No, absolutely.
Actually, it reminds me a little bit of Luna games. Do you guys know Luna games? Have you heard of them?
It rings a bell, but I'm not 100% certain I could talk about it.
Well, Luna games, I think I shared them with 8-bit one day. I don't really remember. It was a long time ago. Luna games are games about My Little Pony characters, and there are games made by fans. They're little exe files you can get throughout the web.
Yes,
and they are so disturbing and creepy. I
think I played one of them which ends in a screamer.
Yeah, they mostly have some very creepy, scary screamers with Pinkie Pie with red eyes and blood coming out from her
I've seen
sockets.
a couple of videos of this.
Freaking creepy.
Those guys are amazing.
You start the game as a Pinkie Pie, and everything is jolly. You're just walking as a platformer, and then when you go forward, it gets darker. And for example, you can't jump over some kind of a gap. You have to fall down. When you fall down for a few minutes, and the music is getting like darker and more disturbing, and the sound is distorted, and then there's a screamer.
The thing is, at some point you really expect like something is about to happen now, but the game goes on so much longer that you kind of feel safe. Oh yeah, it's not gonna happen at some point. It's nothing, and then suddenly you get this jump scare right in your face, and it's actually great.
What's the name of it? There's a game that starts with an E that. It slowly gets like darker and darker the more you play it. You start off, it's just a basic platformer, and you're playing as like this flower dude. And
I played that.
As the levels move on, things get weirder and creepier and darker. And it's what is it called?
I can't remember it either.
It's gonna bother me.
It's kind of a little bit like Mario or Giant Sisters.
Yes,
Yeah, I'm not sure which one you're talking about. To be perfectly honest, I don't know.
It starts with an E. It's
like I don't remember.
It's too complicated. Name.
Chat
Dang it! It's gonna freaking bother me.
Somebody in chat will know. Don't worry about it.
Play as like an orange flower dude.
Yeah. Pretty sure Cry played it. It's probably on his channel. Pretty sure he played that like years back.
Aversion. E-R-S-I-O-N.
I like G Pudding in chat's response. He says Megapieman, it's probably E Flower Dude.
No, it's
like
it's called Aversion. It's a very nice happy, fun game that gets slowly and slowly more
It's going on the list. It's
Yeah,
going on the list.
that's exactly the game. Yep.
It's pretty cool.
I
There we
saw
go.
that.
It's on the list. I'll check it out after the stream. So what else have we got this week? We've got Men of Valor. Anybody played or know much about Men of Valor? Anyone at all? Anyone?
That was fun today.
What game was it? I didn't catch that.
Men of
Man
Valor.
of Valor.
Ah, yeah. Okay. That game
don't need
is wonderful. I saw
talk about
Megapieman. It's like Madden. It's like a football game.
It's like
American
Madden.
football.
I can talk about Men of Valor if you want me to.
Go ahead. Go for it.
So Men of Valor, it's a first-person shooter, and it's a first-person shooter in the vein of everything that the modern first-person shooter has become that is crap. I am going to talk bad about this game because I'm not a big fan of it. But the weird thing is, it's by the company called 2015 Inc. 2015 is the same company that made Medal of Honor Allied Assault, which is also available on GOG, which is a much better game. But between Allied Assault and Men of Valor, a whole bunch of the people from the company left and founded Infinity Ward,
Oh, I
who you know
see. Yeah.
for Call of Duty. So apparently that's where a lot of the big people behind, you know, making the game good went. Because, I mean, Men of Valor is not necessarily a bad game in the sense that it's buggy or broken. It's competent. It's just got really bad design. It's that early 2000s military sort of, I mean, it's set in Vietnam, but it's more like the modern military where extremely linear levels,
Right.
very, very talkative,
Yeah.
without ever actually saying anything, just like the dumbest AI you've ever seen. There was a moment where I was hiding behind a tree and leaning out behind the tree and looking at a group of enemies who were doing absolutely nothing but running around in a circle in a house that was close to me. There's a window. They're supposed to shoot through the window and fire on you, but they weren't. They were just running around, going from wall to wall, taking cover. It was insane. The game starts by teaching you how to play it with teaching you how to crouch and crawl by picking up a football from underneath a truck, which I thought was a really cool idea until I started throwing that football around and found that nobody wanted it, and I could just throw it in people's faces and they didn't give a crap. That was fun. So, I
This is
think...
Megapieman's childhood, basically.
Oh.
Thanks. I think Men of Valor, well, you see, Allied Assault was written by Steven Spielberg, if I remember correctly, and it was very much a game that tried to emulate the World War II movies that were out at that
Right.
particular time. And that's sort of what influenced that genre going away, because it got very stale very quickly because everyone was referencing the exact same movies. And when they made it more modernly military with like Call of Duty 4, they changed that up a little bit. But man, Men of Valor, it's so run of the mill. There's not even collectibles to find. There's not
So-
even areas to explore to find collectibles.
So it's definitely not
It's
your
like,
cup of
it's
tea.
It's just so there's a mission where you're in a creek and you're walking through that creek, and even though the sides on the sides of the creek are low enough that you could get out of the creek, you can't because there's invisible walls there.
Ah, right. I see.
It's ridiculous. It's a completely corridor shooter
Yeah.
that they try to disguise, and they don't do it that well. I mean,
It's unfortunate. I mean, the
production values aren't that bad.
Yeah.
It looks good for the time period that it was in. It sounds all right. It's got some interesting ideas. You don't see many games that take place in Vietnam.
Yeah.
The only other one that I've played is a game called Nam, which is unfortunately not on GOG, which is a darn shame. And Night Dive Studios, put it on GOG, please. Thank you.
I feel another
I
wish
don't-
list coming on.
They just
coming.
Yeah.
they tried to make it's got that feeling that it was overproduced to try to be as much of a cinematic experience that kind of the
Yeah.
World War II movies and Spider-Man games ended up turning games into. And if you want to know how to not make a shooter, I mean, the people have talent because it's competent.
So it
It's
sounds
just got
like
really, really bad design decisions.
Yeah, it sounds like, just from what you've been saying, it's got the right elements, just not necessarily got the character that it needs. And it's got, like you said, it probably looks all right and it probably sounds all right, but I don't know if it's missing one or two of these factors that would make it a great game, then it all starts to fall down a little bit, unfortunately. It's a shame as well, because in fairness, I have a bit of a weird relationship with post-war or pre-war shooters, to be perfectly honest. I think that genre has kind of been done to death. But I mean, if they're good, then they're really good, and if they're not really good, it's not a case of you either get good, bad, or really good war games. You either get really good or the rest of them. I suppose you kind of end up lumping them into one of those two categories.
Well, like the saddest kind of thing about the story is after Men of Valor, 2015 did like one more game for the DS, and that's all they've done. So
yeah,
when a lot of their people left to go form Infinity Ward, I guess that was kind of the end of 2015, which is a shame because they definitely had the skills, but they just didn't really know what to do with them.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
that means 2015 didn't make it until 2015. Is that literally?
I don't know if that.
Now I'm gonna check this out because this will. Okay, 2015.
What a pun.
Yeah. See what you did there. I'd just like to point out as well that someone in chat did just pull me up on the
They're
fact
best-
that I said
they're best
pre-war.
known
I
for
apologize for
allies.
that.
Founded in 1997. They made an expansion pack to Sin. If they can make an expansion pack to Sin, you should know how to make a freaking shooter.
Okay. I think we're moving swiftly on because I'm aware we have been talking about Kona for an hour and now we're still on the releases. What else have we got that's come out
The last
this
one,
week?
I think, is the Raiden. That's
Raiden
Interplay.
for Overkill.
Yep.
Someone go.
Shoot 'em up game, vertical scrolling shoot 'em up. It really, I think actually it's advertised as a bullet hell shoot 'em up game, but I'm actually very careful with that term since only the bosses were a little bit shoot 'em up, were actually bullet hell. You know, where kind of like the whole screen fills with bullets.
Yeah.
But it was still an outstanding game. I really, really liked it. What's interesting is that really everything is done in 3D, but just the gameplay is in 2D. Like you see it again from the top perspective, scrolls upwards, and but everything is like really rendered in 3D, which gives it a really, really cool look. And it's chaotic as hell. It's chaotic as hell, but you can play as a fairy that shoots bubbles.
There you go. 10 out of 10. IGN.
No, I would really recommend it.
Here's the question I have for you, Memoriesin8bit.
Yeah.
So a while ago I streamed Raiden 3, but that was after I played Crimson Clover. And Raiden 1 and 2 are some of my favorite games from the first game I ever played in my life. Was the Raiden project for the PlayStation 1, which had both Raiden 1 and 2 on it. But I was rather disappointed with Raiden 3 because I had previously played Crimson Clover, and Crimson Clover World Ignition is so freaking good.
Yeah.
It's ruined me for shmups in bullet hells. It's ruined me for it because it's so good. But how does Raiden 4 Overkill compare to Crimson Clover World Ignition?
I would definitely say, and that goes back to the bullet hell aspect. It really depends on what you want. Crimson Clover is a perfect example of bullet hell, where you really have to nail down the fire pattern of every enemy, because there will just be like a few pixels on the screen where you're actually gonna be safe. While in Raiden you have much more time to play around, and that goes back to the power-up system, because you have these power-ups floating on the screen, and depending on what kind of color they have, you get a different weapon out of them. So the game lures you already into traps, but that means the action can only go so far, otherwise the game would just be unfair. So they are really different. Somebody who's not really familiar with the genre would say, like, it's pretty much the same games. But these kind of mechanics make them so so different. And you know what I would recommend, I would say Crimson Clover is the more solid game overall, is what I want to say. But yeah, Bullet Hell may not be for everyone, and I think Raiden 4 may be easier for newcomers to get into. Even though you have limited continues in Raiden, it has more variety, but you have like, 7 kind of different difficulty levels? And yeah, Crimson Clover has just like hard and ultra hard.
I find it kind of funny you say variety, because Raiden has the Super Mario theme problem where every single Raiden game plays exactly the same. You've got countryside, city, ocean, ruins, base before going to outer space, space level, and then 7th final space level.
Yeah,
every single one of them that I've played is exactly the same.
That happens. That happens in a lot of shoot 'em ups. They really try. You have just these kind of scenarios. You can make the whole game take place in space. Well, I don't know, put a planet behind it or a nebula or something like it. But if you want to put it like on a planet, you have desert environment. We need a city now, or a cave or something like that. You have only so many environments to choose from, and it repeats over and over again. Sometimes.
But it's just funny because there's the land boss, the flying boss, the water boss, the temple boss, the taking off spaceship boss.
Mm-hmm. It's actually kind of funny because Star Fox, maybe on the Super Nintendo or on the Nintendo 64, actually repeats these themes pretty well, but puts them in a 3D perspective.
Nice.
I don't know. Maybe because you're a shmup, you're limited with ideas. That's why you get those weird cute 'em ups, like Harmful Park, and that one where you play as muscular guys shooting bullets out of the tops of their heads.
That is true, Sherry. In Turian, you can fly as a carrot. That is true, but that's what games like Parodius or Sexy Parodius, which is also a thing.
Why?
Then
Just
like
why?
carrots that shoot milk. You have like in Parodius, you have milk that shoots cows, or naked ladies in bathtubs.
Nice.
Yeah, you have like this extremely
that
silly stuff in this.
I love that point where shoot 'em ups got to, where they're like, you know what? We've been doing spaceships for a while.
Yeah.
Literally, we can make this game and just use anything, just freaking anything.
And in Parodius, you can fly as a paper airplane, and the more power-ups you have, the more like stick figures you have standing on the paper airplane, surfing on this thing. That's like a legit character in this game. And yeah, it's really mixing it up. It's that's what I really like about these kind of games, is that they, even though some are more serious than others, they're very self-aware and don't really take themselves too serious at all.
Cool. Shmups, there you go. I'm not a huge, I'm a fan of shoot 'em ups. I'm a fan of shmups and bullet hell games and things like that. But I think you guys are definitely the house experts in regards to that. So yeah, so thank you for that.
I mean, I'm by no means an expert or really good at these games. I just love them.
Or in this room.
It's always fun to play. I love playing these things on stream because I know it's a challenge. Not so much with the game. The game is hard enough as it is, but saying like, okay, now I have like 2 hours with this game, and I have to make something out of it. There will be chat. There will be commentary.
Yeah, all right, I got 2 hours. Come on.
And I have to do this for 2 hours. This is gonna be a lot of fun.
Yeah, you're just like, there's going to be a lot of lights and a lot of color.
It's really hard to stream a shoot 'em up. I did a interview with the developer of Crimson Clover a while ago, where I streamed it, and I was playing the game and trying to interview him at the exact same time. It's really hard to do that.
Oh, doing an interview as well. Holy cow, that must have been difficult.
I was looking at 8bit's stream today, and what I was like really amazed of was the moment when he was just fighting some kind of a boss, and he was looking at the screen in one direction. I saw his eyes fixed on the screen, and he was, dodging all those bullets, and then he said, "Oh, Pikachu is in the chat, Pikachu." Like, how the hell? Where does he have the third eye?
That's
He sees the chat and everything.
that's a peripheral vision that sometimes especially like Tikanjia has like this light blue color, which is always the same in beta Twitch, and I could see that he, and also he's like a subscriber, and two, he has the turbo thing, so it's kind of like just this
It's a
color
good,
scheme
yeah,
which you
it's a
can
good
see
guess,
from-
yeah.
Confirmed on
fair-
streams.
To be fair, when 8-bit said that, he did die in the game. So
Oh, did
I
you?
Well,
did.
maybe. But it confirms that you are treating subscribers better.
oh
Yeah.
no, let's not. Let's just not. Can we not? Can we
Sorry.
please not?
Sorry.
I'm sorry.
We
I
love
tried.
we love
Guys,
all of our
I tried.
community
I let you all down.
equally. That's
I
it,
just want to
period.
say that my chat is dark and a white square stands out, especially if it's like right aside a blue username.
You are just now dwelling downhill.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
just going up.
I see the plebs are already
Oh man.
rising up
You
against.
can't
me.
call them that. They're community members. We've gone
Oh,
over
right,
this.
Right, the community members.
They're forum users. We've talked about this.
Anyway, Raiden 4,
Anyway,
great
yeah,
game.
Raiden
I
4.
would definitely recommend it. Yeah, for newcomers. But yeah, all of the shoot 'em ups which are on GOG are actually kind of good. Also, I mean, Stargunner and Turian, which are more Western shoot 'em up games, are amazing. Raptor Call of Shadows is amazing. And of course, there's more Raiden games. I thought GOG only had Raiden 3 aside Raiden 4, but it
There
also
are
has like
so many
Legacy
Raiden
Collection.
games. There's at least 4 of the main series. There's Raiden Fighters, Raiden
Yeah, there's like
Legends.
3 spin-off games, and I think they're all in the Legacy Collection, which is also on GOG.
I would
Oh,
recommend
nice.
Raiden 4 for Mortal Kombat.
Yeah,
Raiden 4 Mortal Kombat, definitely. Mortal Kombat also available on GOG. It's a
That's
crossover.
true.
It's a crossover promotion.
great segue.
Yep, absolutely. That's absolutely fantastic. Right, so upcoming games we've got at the moment. I just want to know, what on earth is No Pineapple Left Behind?
It's such a cool game.
What on earth
What
is
is what?
that?
What'd you
No,
say?
No Pineapple Left Behind. What on
I
earth
want
is
to talk
that?
about
Go. You boys have spoken enough. Outstar, take this away.
it. I mean, like today, let me just say, I think I can tell that. I think they won't fire me, but I was on the
Well-
GOG meeting today.
They fire you, they fire me too.
So I was in the GOG meeting today, and they are telling me what they're doing because I'm going there for once a week and getting all the information to share with you guys in here. And they were talking about the No Pineapple Left Behind, which is the game that will come to GOG. And they were talking like, hey, we should do something extra. And basically for the over 30 minutes, we were talking about what can we dress pineapples at us and take them pictures maybe and do something fun with it. And they were like talking about pineapples for half an hour, which is pretty fun. But the game is even better because the game is about
Wait,
being a teacher.
Hang on. Before you get into that, I will have to say, I claimed this game.
Okay,
Move on.
okay, that's okay.
Wow, okay.
So
I
you're
have
a
to do it
teacher.
now because if I wait, then somebody else will take it on our sheet of games to claim to stream. All right?
Okay, it's yours.
Okay, cool.
There we go.
Basically, you're a teacher, and you have your students, and I mean pupils, because they're like kids, and
Pupils.
children. Children, they have needs. They need to have toilets, they need to have canteen, they need to be hugged. They are crying, they're complaining. So you can basically choose to change them into pineapples. Pineapples don't have needs. Pineapples are pineapples. The thing is, they are participating in your lessons and they are taking your tests and they are, average students, the pineapples, but they're not kids. So, yeah, you can. I don't really know what's the gameplay, but from what I'm getting, from what the GOG people told me and what I read online, you can actually choose whether it's better to have real human beings in your classroom or change the kids into pineapples permanently. You can't go back from a pineapple. Once you go pineapple, you never go back. And
I've heard that.
yeah, and have a perfectly behaving class. So
Once you go pineapple, you never go back.
I've actually heard a bit about No Pineapple Left Behind. No Pineapple Left Behind, from what I understand it, is actually somewhat based off of ideas from the American education system. From what I remember, I think some of the developers were teachers at some point, but there was a thing a while, I think it was put out by President Bush, which was called No Child Left Behind, which was a big educational reform thing that don't quote me on this because I don't know everything about it. I don't think it worked out all that well in the end, but No Pineapple Left Behind is inspired by that from what I remember, and is somewhat of a parody of that.
It's basically a huge satire on the American educational system, and it involves kids and pineapples and the wonderful comparison on how pineapples are better. And you, as a teacher, you may, succumb your job to just teach pineapples because you think it's easier. And I wonder about the game. It sounds really funny and weird, and would love to see you playing it.
I'm very interested in it because I was actually a student during the whole No Child Left Behind thing. So I'm interested to see how that incorporates into the game, and if that is actually, I'm pretty sure that's what it was based off of. I remember reading it somewhere, but I don't remember where. I don't have any sources to cite. I'm not freaking Wikipedia, all right? Don't trust me. Look it up on Google. Trust Google. Don't trust me.
That's a quote right there, isn't it? Don't trust me. Trust Google. Just Google it.
But from what I remember of hearing about this game, because it's been in development for a couple of years, that's what I remember that its origins are from.
Cool. I'm interested. I think I would like to know, essentially, if you can just load the game up, sort of go, right, everyone's a pineapple, game over.
You probably could do that.
That's what I want to do. That's genuinely all I want to do. I want to just turn everybody into a pineapple and just get my bag and go home. 15 minutes. I could speedrun it. Okay, cool. So, yeah, No Pineapple Left Behind. I feel educated in regards to No Pineapple Left Behind now. Thank you very much, everyone.
No problem.
What else are we allowed to talk about? Outstar, you can probably take the lead on this. Although the second one down that you've mentioned, I'm very, very interested in this. But I believe somebody else is streaming it, possibly Mr. Pieman.
What?
Hyperlight Drifter.
Oh, that's a thing.
I just keep hearing your cat every now and then. I keep thinking it's mine.
That's the thing. So Hyperlight Drifter will come to GOG. And there's
pretty.
Yeah,
so
isn't
pretty.
it just?
I wanted.
So pretty.
Oof.
It's a beautiful game.
Yeah.
I've been following this game since it had a Kickstarter.
I've never heard of it until recently. I've got to admit.
What it's about? I don't know. You're a drifter of hyperlight.
That's okay. Yeah.
You're just drifting in a beautiful environment with wonderful, wonderful graphics that look like Fez and Titan Souls have a beautiful baby. And
I think it's supposed to be somewhat like The Legend of Zelda.
Yeah.
Other than that, I know nothing besides its artwork is really cool.
Yeah.
It's an RPG as far as I know. It's a first-person kind of a pixelated RPG, and it will be kind of amazing. We are working on getting the pre-release version to play it for you before it will come to GOG, so you will have
exclusive.
Exclusive.
I do have to ask you, Outstar, could we have your cat also make a cameo during that?
Yeah, I think that would be a wonderful thing.
There's the sound of a cat, which means instantaneously we have at least 500 more viewers here.
Right now. Absolutely. That's like doubled our viewership. It's fine. We've got more subscribers, viewers. We're being hosted on several cat channels now.
We're acting like this is by accident, but it's a tactical expansion of twitch.tv/GOGcom.
It's known as cat hat SEO, not white hat or black hat. It's cat hat SEO. Only people who have ever done SEO will get that joke. I'm sorry for those who don't.
I can make an announcement right now. It's a very important announcement about my life that will probably be a shock to everyone. But me and my husband, we are planning a second cat right now. So So there is a huge possibility that it will be an even bigger team in here.
I don't
You're-
know.
you're
That's
expecting the-
that's a big step for you and your husband to get a second cat.
I know.
You're
I know
expecting
that.
the pitter-patter of four
When you
tiny
get more
feet.
than one cat, you have to start playing favorites.
I was actually having 2 cats for a while, and it was a wonderful experience. I totally enjoyed that. So yeah, would be pretty cool to repeat that. But coming back to releases, because
Absolutely.
Pyrofox was.
You're way ahead of me. You're way ahead of me. Carry on.
I was
Take
just
it.
trying
Go.
to answer Pyrofox on the chat because
Yeah.
Pyrofox was talking about my release stream on Tuesday. And the thing is, yeah, Flame in the Flood releases, but it won't be Flame in the Flood on Tuesday. But I can spoil you one thing. On Monday, I will do a special creative stream, which will kind of tease what I will do on Tuesday. And this creative stream will be me painting things that could be a little bit spoopy. And you guys, I think after this stream, you will quite well know what the game will be. And so on the Monday, there will be a special creative stream teasing the Tuesday's release. And yeah, that's all. Just
It's
announcement.
not on the list yet. I can't see it. Damn
No,
it.
it's not.
No,
Yeah.
no, it's not on the list yet. We
Oh,
can't.
you-
We're
you're
not.
still very, very, very secretive there with
Yeah,
our
we're
schedule.
not.
Damn it.
We're not allowed to really say what it is.
I'm sorry,
I
chat.
know.
I can't
think I know
leak
what it
more
is.
information.
I think I know what
Not
it is.
allowed.
I'm really excited. If it is what I think it is, oh boy, am I excited for it.
My exes
I have
was
no
well,
idea.
I am and I'm not actually.
My exes was denied. I have to go into hardcore hacking mode. Where's my power glove? Ah, don't find it. Anyway, need to
You need to
into the GOG
hack
accounts.
time.
Anyway,
And yeah, I'm
Right.
terrible. I promised people, were writing me PMs that I will do a creative stream tomorrow with the continuation of the GOG team members painting, you know, the 8-bit
Oh yeah.
portraits. The thing is, I think I won't be away from home tomorrow and for the whole weekend, basically, because there is unexpected thing happening. So, but I will continue that for sure, guys. I love to make everyone here 8-bit and pixelate it and animate it. It was super cool. So
That is
good job.
amazing. I need to get a copy of that actually, so I can start using
maybe
it as an
that won't
avatar.
even work. I mean, we get so many new streamers. Maybe we just will be unable to catch up.
No, I will do it for Jesus Christ.
Cat attack!
Oh my God. Yeah, I think I will do that.
That was totally Shadow of the Colossus right there.
It was.
If she will
We have
do
to
that,
make a highlight and with the Shadow of the Colossus music there.
if she will do that during the streams of horror games, then I will be spooked.
Yeah.
Which horror games were that again? Can you say something about them?
I can't. I
No,
just
no,
said
that may have been a
great.
bit too much. I'm not sure.
But the Flame in the Flood, I'm so
Yes,
hyped for
Flame in the Flood.
that.
Excellent stuff. Excellent. I know. I literally know nothing about the Flame in the Flood whatsoever. Out of the upcoming games, I'm most excited for Hyperlight Drifter. So I don't mind. I don't really care who streams it. I just want to watch it. I just want to watch someone playing it. I just want to go. It's so pretty.
Yeah, we probably have to do Mortal Kombat for that game.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm up for that.
Well, there was a thing on the channel happening that some of you guys might have seen. We hosted the survival girl called Kivo, and she has a channel called twitch.tv/Kivion, and she was streaming Project Zomboid. She also streams a lot of the Flame in the Flood in the early access version because it's already available as an early access on Steam. And I was watching her playing this game a lot. It was really wonderful. Which comes to a second announcement that we will do a special celebrity-infused multiplayer of Project Zomboid. And Kivo will actually join us and she will play with us. She's super freaking talented in Zomboid. And I was watching her stream and I was basically thinking of how me and Memoriesin8bit, how we look like in comparison. But
Come on, we didn't play this game before.
I know, but the thing is, I was talking with her about, playing the game that we played the game with the developer, with Binky, on the channel here, and you guys watched it. And so we said, I told her that we basically started building a base with him, and it was pretty fun. And then she screamed at me, how could you play with Captain Binky and let him into your base? Because he basically played with us on her stream, and he burned down the whole base, including the well. And the developer
Yeah,
still has no
admit
idea
that
how we
part.
did that. How he
admit that
burned down the
part.
well.
Yeah, he was telling us about
Simple.
that before the last stream, wasn't he? Before the Project Zomboid stream.
Yeah, so it will happen next week. But I don't know,
Excellent.
guys. Do you know anything else about the Flame in the Flood? Because I just watched the stream and I was like, wow, it's so freaking cool, and the music is amazing.
No, but one thing I will say about the streamer whose name I cannot pronounce and cannot remember is she's British as well. So
Yeah.
already has a whole sack full of Screaming Joypad points.
Exactly. That was
Cool.
pretty cool.
That's my one redeeming feature is the fact that we come from the same country, so I don't actually have to be any good at Project Zomboid. I can just go make a cup of tea. It's easy.
I already told her that you are all playing naked, and I was the only girl surrounded by
Whoa,
naked men.
whoa!
And
Hang
she was
on.
like, okay. She was okay with it.
That's how reputations get started.
Yeah.
Well, so it was. I'm
Well,
sorry.
okay.
It's
If we have to, we have to. Come on. Start taking my top off, right? What else have we got? What else can we talk about? Can we talk about Master of Orion?
Yeah, no, we didn't talk
Good,
about
because I've
it.
mentioned it.
We didn't talk about it, but Master of Orion is something super
We
big
can't
coming.
talk about it because I don't know anything about it, and I don't want to be left out of the conversation.
Oh, I don't know anything about it either.
It's like super freaking classic 4X coming into a new phase, and everyone's hyped about it. And Paranjade's will probably be the one that will show it to you because she's someone who knows Master of Orion the best here, I think.
The interesting thing
yeah, I think I have
about
heard of it.
Masters of Orion is, it was an old game, and this is the remake of it. But there was actually like a month or so ago, there was an RTS, a ground-based RTS that used the Masters of Orion thing. I think it was like the Cult Desert or something like that. But that didn't come to GOG, which was a bit odd.
Very strange. The inner workings of
Originally,
GOG.
It
Who
had
knows?
I think it was originally called Shipbreakers because they didn't have the license to it, and then if that's not Masters of Orion, I'm going to be looking like an idiot.
You just randomly got the wrong game. I would just like to mention, KoalaMan108 has just asked in chat, I have a question about the GOGCast. Do you plan on having any guests from chat in the future? Who knows? Maybe. I don't know. Carrying on. We're basically out of time, in all fairness. We've been doing this for a couple of hours now, so we're going to
I
have
had
to start
absolutely
wrapping it
no
up.
time to talk about Overload yet.
And I can't
no.
talk about Dark Souls. What?
Oh no, what a shame. I won't get jabbed at in the ribs by
Homeworld.
GOG because you've been going
It was
on
not
about Dark
Masters of
Souls for
Orion,
40
it was
minutes.
Homeworld. I am
Homeworld,
stupid.
that was it. Homeworld. No,
Homeworld got a remake recently too, and they're both about space. So leave me alone.
it did. No, that's fair enough. Yep, no, that's absolutely fair enough. I would like to remind people that the game Consortium is free on GOG today, so definitely check that out. I was reminded in chat a little while ago. I completely forgot about it. I've just had a quick look at it. It looks a little bit like a space opera-esque RPG. I'm probably getting that completely wrong.
Weird.
But it looks,
weird game.
yeah, it looks weird. That's just it. It looks interesting and weird and unique. So yeah, Consortium, go check it out.
Before we're done,
Yeah.
I do have to give us the Slime Rancher wishlist update.
Oh yes.
So,
Da-da-da-da-da-da. Go
When
on.
I first came across Slime Rancher on the GOG wishlist, it was around 40-some votes. Last week, we had it up to 80. Right now, it's sitting at 123 votes on
Holy
the GOG.com
crap.
wishlist. So we can make this happen, people. If you are in the chat right now, you can follow this link right here and vote up Slime Rancher for the chance that we can get it on GOG.com. If you are listening to this or if you're watching elsewhere, go to www.gog.com/wishlist/games/slime_rancher. If you vote for this game, we will be able to get it on GOG because we'll pressure them enough that they'll put it on GOG.
Pressure them enough. I'm not sure that's how it works. I'm
And
not
then
sure
I
if
can
it's.
stream it for you guys.
I'm not sure
and we can all enjoy.
the wish
You know,
list drive
shameless plug. Now I can
Go on,
shameless plug
go on.
as well. Currently on Kickstarter, and I'm gonna do this now. Currently on Kickstarter.
Is this an exclusive?
The original developers of Descent are coming together to make a new Descent-like game that looks and feel already from their Kickstarter page looks and feels a lot better like whatever this Descent Underground is that some people also have funded via Kickstarter. But this is the original developers that are currently working on this game, and it looks freaking amazing. And I want you guys to back it. If you have the money, of course, it's all optional. I'm gonna paste the link here in chat. Playoverload.com. There is a link to the Kickstarter page. You can watch a lot of footage of it already. If you are a fan of Descent, there's all the original people. Matt Torschlock is on the project again. Mike Kulas, the original 2 developers. Mike Kulas also co-developed Free Space and went then to Volition Software. So there is a lot of amazing people there, and you should back that game.
It does sound cool.
And
It does
the
sound cool.
last plug goes for GOG because they are giving away Consortium for free today. So go
Yes.
to GOG and
Yes.
claim your game for free today
Yes.
and tomorrow too. But you can go today and claim it because it won't go away tomorrow.
Go right now, and then it makes it look like we've driven that download. So
Yes.
you've actually done this because of us. So
Before we're done, I'll have to talk about this dude in chat. I didn't
Yep.
see what his name was. We didn't talk about
dude in
Premier Emperor's Testament. Well, it is now out on GOG because 1, we didn't know, and 2, none of us played it. So
fair enough then.
it's a strategy real-time sci-fi RTS that's available on sale for $1.99 on GOG.com.
bargain, absolute bargain.
Premier Emperor's Testament. I'm sorry that we didn't get the chance to talk about it, but we don't know
It
anything
happens.
about it.
It has happened before. It will undoubtedly happen again. I wouldn't worry too much about it. I'm not worried about it. I don't think anybody else is worried about it. So there you go. That's it. We're going to wrap up. We've had no time to talk about what games we've been playing, and we've not had no time to talk through readers' questions time, viewers' question time. There you go.
Oh, we could go for another hour.
Well, we could, but we're not. So, yeah, I'd just like to thank everyone for joining us. I'd thank Alexandre Fiset from Kona Game, but he's not here because he left about an hour ago. But thank you very much to my fellow Stream Team members. We will see you next week. Stay tuned for, I believe it's Matt Cat Plays. I can't remember if he's playing a game.
He's gonna play Worms United.
There you go. He's playing Worms United. Don't forget, if you're watching this on video on demand, make sure you check us out Thursdays, 9 p.m. GMT on twitch.tv/GOGCom. If you're listening to the audio only podcast, do the same thing and enjoy us. Leave us some nice feedback somewhere. Let your friends know. Let your family know. Your mum might like the podcast. Who knows? Right. We're out of here. We'll see you later. Everyone say goodbye.
Vote for Slime Rancher. Check me out on
Slime Rancher.
youtube.com/MegapiemanPHD. I put a new video out this week. It's about Aviary Attorney. It's a bird lawyer game.